Tigers finished 78-84. I thought they might win 70 games at most, so they are far ahead of a lot of people's projections. Just a positive season with so many young players making a step forward. I think either from from previous years in the majors or up from the minors. Lots of contributions all over the place, offensively and from the rotation and the bullpen. Reese Olson is a revelation as a starting pitcher that I didn't even know who he was going into the season.
I still
Tarek
don't know who he is.
Tarek Skubal, who's going to come up later in our Badass of the Year conversation, came off
Weak.
injury, and
Weak.
yeah, I don't think so. He put up some incredible numbers for his the second half of the season that he did participate in. Casey Mize will be coming back. Matt Manning, oh my God, I was going to make this shit we couldn't make up several times. Matt Manning broke his foot early in the season on a liner comebacker, hit him right in the foot, broke his foot. Came back from injury, was starting to pitch really well, got hit again on a comebacker in his foot, broke his foot again, which is just brutal. But once he heals up, he's shown that he can get back into form. The rotation is full of solid young pitchers. Eduardo Rodriguez, I'm not sure what's happening there. The strong rumor is that he's opting out, but I kind of would be fine with that. We've dealt with so much weirdness with that guy over the 2 years he's been in Detroit. The first season, he took a leave of absence to deal with a personal issue. Last year, he was amongst the best pitchers in the American League, and then he had an injury that no one's ever heard of, a pulley rupture in his left index finger. And then he wouldn't agree to a trade to the Dodgers, which could have set up the Tigers for years to come. And was inexplicable to anyone across the baseball industry. So he was solid once he came back from injury. It was kind of back and forth. He wasn't nearly as consistent. His command just wasn't what it was in the first half before the injury, but he could get dialed in and be just as dominant. But most of the time, it was dicey at best. But I could go either way on Erod. If he comes back, great. You can never have too much starting pitching depth. If not, I feel like we can fill in and might even be making some moves in free agency this offseason once again, as some money is opening up. Some big monies are opening up for the Tigers. I'll get to Torkelson when we get to Badass of the Year as well, but he was another revelation. 31 homers, the first Tiger to hit 31 home runs in quite some time. I think since 2016. He led the Tigers in every offensive category, and it's going to shut up all the detractors that were getting pretty loud in the first couple months of the season. The anti-torque Tigers Twitter sphere, which I thought was ridiculous. Riley Green had a great year until he got hurt again. He's having, I think it's Tommy John surgery on his elbow from diving for a catch, which I don't think I've ever heard of before. But he was hitting 300 at a OPS plus of 117. It's just a bummer he got hurt, but just there's plenty of upside going on with the Tigers right now. Parker Meadows getting called up. He's actually a better center fielder than Riley Green was, which is kind of amazing to think about. His brother Austin Meadows played. I think he had 21 plate appearances all year and could not fulfill his duties due to some emotional issues. I believe Scott Harris is having meetings with him this week to determine his future with the Tigers. I don't believe he has a future with the Tigers. He is proven to be unreliable. I don't know how they could go forward with him, but overall, I think a positive year. Not certainly above expectations, and that's always fun for a team that isn't expected to do much, just to see some positive things out of the youth. But the real story of the season was the farewell tour of Miguel Cabrera. And it really went so much better than I could have ever dreamed. When he signed his 8-year, $248 million extension in 2014, we knew we were paying for past performance. We knew Tigers were hoping for 3 or 4 good years out of him, and they did get 3 good years. His last really good year was in 2016, where he had 38 home runs. After that, it was just injuries and a obvious decline. I was at times sad to see because he could barely run at several points. This year, he was healthy, and that's what made all the difference. And whether it's AJ Hinch taking care of him as a DH, not playing him as much as he had previously, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just him being close to the finish line. He took better care of himself or something. But he was generally healthy all year. He didn't put up massive numbers. I think he had 4 home runs this year, which was probably 3 more than I thought he would get throughout the season. But it was just awesome, and he was appreciated throughout the league. Every last game he had, last series he had against an opponent, he was showered with gifts, which you and I made fun of
I
most of
think
the
the best.
season.
Did you agree the best gift was Oakland, where they only gave him like a $90 bottle of wine?
You just stepped into my asshole of the week.
I mean, literally, like when I saw that, I'm like, what a bunch of like the organization is already a fucking dumpster fire, but
Yeah,
really,
the Oakland A's. I mean, we'll talk. We've talked about everything he got earlier in the season. The brick from the Orioles was particularly hilarious.
what he got a donation of like what $300 or
I
$500
think
for
it's
his charity.
no, it's like 5,000 or
Oh yeah, right.
3,500.
Oh, right. There you go. There you go. Yeah,
It was his charitable foundation.
yeah,
That's what almost every team did. I think your White Sox did as well. You also gave him a Ron Kittle bench.
yeah. The
Uh,
Ron Kittle bench is really nice. I'd like to get one myself. I just can't afford one.
I'm kind of shocked you don't have one. I kind of assumed you were sitting on one this whole time. We just
I
couldn't
am
see
right
it from this
now.
camera
Actually,
angle. But
I lied. I have a Ron Kittle bench.
he got a badass surfboard from the Angels that had like inscribed all of his
Yeah,
career goals.
that was very fucking cool.
I
I
think the
thought
coolest thing is the Dodgers gave him a Hollywood Walk of Fame star with his name on it. That was I just never would have guessed that. He was blown away by that. The Yankees gave him a Subway sign for Yankee Stadium mounted on like Subway tile and had all sorts of autographs and stuff. That was really cool, like artwork that he could hang on his wall. Just lots of cool stuff. And then he goes to Oakland, and the A's give him it was a pretty big bottle of wine. It's not a typical wine bottle, but sizable wine bottle. And it was revealed that you could buy that same bottle of wine for I've seen it reported differently. I saw $80 and then $90. I'm not sure. I'll break the tie and just call it an $85 bottle of wine.
yeah.
Which is embarrassing already on the surface, considering what other teams have given. No one has to give him anything, but the A's made a ceremony out of it. They brought him out to home plate. I think it was the manager came out and like handed him the bottle of wine in front of the crowd. It's like, you want to give him a gift, give him a shitty gift, just give it to him, and say, yeah, we appreciate your time. But they were like all proud of themselves for giving him this possibly $90 bottle of wine.
Wasn't it like actually like signed by the fucking owner or some shit?
It may have been, but people were making the joke that they just sent an intern across the street to the liquor store to buy their most expensive wine bottle. They put no thought into it and then had a ceremony over it. The other asshole section part of this gift is Mickey not so subtly has had alcohol issues throughout his career. I mean, it's not an unknown fact that he was
Well, those of us in Chicago are very well aware of it,
well,
and
but
we've
he's had
taken
issues.
advantage of it.
Well, yeah, there's that whole possible story. I'm not sure that Ozzie Guillen may have gotten him drunk before a pivotal game against the White Sox, but I'm pretty sure that did happen. I'll always blame Ozzie for that failure on Miggy's part, but he was also famously not pulled over. He was on the side of the road in spring training in Florida one year.
Yeah, I remember that story. Yeah.
He actually the story I heard is that he actually took a big swig of of whatever he was drinking while the
yeah, while
cops
the
pulled
cop
up.
was there, yeah.
So they couldn't put him under a breathalyzer because they witnessed him drinking at the time. So it would actually invalidate the drunk driving charge. So I don't know what happened there, but it's not a secret that Miggy has some issues with alcohol that he's overcome clearly. So that's just another layer of irony that the A's certainly didn't understand, or if they did, they're assholes for giving him a cheap bottle of wine. It's just sad. Again, any kind of gesture is cool, and he was a good sport about it. Of course, he was joking about it. He was certainly not offended or anything, and it's not an obligation for any teams to give him anything. I think it's cool that they are, but just embarrassing in a just a horribly embarrassing year for the Oakland A's. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a perfect asshole of the week.
I just picture Miggy like going to someone's house for a party and he just brings that bottle of wine with him.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? But he finished his career with 511 home runs, tied for 25th all time with Mel Ott. He finished with 3,174 hits,
3,174 hits.
16th all time.
He
He
actually had
is
a good final year, to be honest.
he was
Like,
he was probably the highest batting average on the team besides Riley Green.
no, but seriously, like
He wasn't
he
embarrassing. The last
was
week of
not
the
embarrassing.
last week of the season, he had a home run, which was fucking awesome. He had a 3-hit night, I think the last weekend of the season.
We've seen a lot of guys on their farewell tours
It's bad.
just have bad seasons.
And
Like
that's what I saw
but
it coming 8 years ago, I thought, from Miggy,
but
how bad
but
it was.
even last year we were like, holy shit, I remember you were like, fuck, we got to endure one more year of this contract.
Well,
And
I endorsed them buying him out. That was my
yes,
off-season plan.
that
Buy
was
him
your
out.
off-season plan, yeah.
I
But you know
was
what?
mistaken again.
No, but I mean, like, I'm actually happy because he was a treasure to baseball.
Yeah.
The fun on the field, the joking around. I mean, like the Tigers and that's what always makes me laugh. Like Tigers fans and White Sox fans, or White Sox fans and Cubs fans, or whatever the fans are doing is hilarious. But when you watch the players on the field for a lot of it, Twins an exception to this rule, but like there's a general Guardians maybe too, but there's a general like the players respect one another and there's fun on the field and all that. And
Yeah.
and Miggy never lost that. Miggy never got caught up in the hype of what was going on in a series between a foe. Like, I know that guy. I'm friends with that guy. Like,
Yeah.
who fucking cares? I'm
I
gonna be at first base and fuck around with them. I'm gonna go to first base and fuck around. I'm gonna go to second base and fuck around. Like he was a joy.
He was doing that through the end of his career. That's what's
Yeah,
so cool. He was just universally loved, and I think that's
yeah,
so awesome. But he's got the numbers to back it up. I mean,
he does. He's
he
a Hall of
is
Famer, man. No
the
doubt about it.
only player in history to have 3,000 hits, 500 home runs, and win the Triple Crown. He's one of only 3 players, and I've mentioned this before, 3,000 hits, 600 doubles, and 500 home runs to join Pujols and Hank Aaron. I mean, everything. What's that guy got to be sad about? He can,
Let's hope the writers enjoyed him.
yeah. Well, Jesus Christ, if he's not unanimous first ballot, I mean,
I
again,
think he is. He should be unanimous first ballot.
I checked out in the Hall of Fame years
Yeah,
ago.
I know.
So,
Fuck it. But
who
yeah,
cares? But
we
it's
know.
they announced
We know.
they announced this past week that he's going to be continuing with the Tigers organization as a special assistant.
I saw that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is super cool because I didn't know if he would just go back to Venezuela or if he would maybe move to Florida back where his career started in Miami. I didn't know if he would keep ties with Detroit, and he wants nothing but to stay involved in the community and with the Detroit Tigers. And that I was not necessarily I didn't really think about it, I guess, what he would do, but I was not surprised, I guess. I just didn't think about it. But I think it's so cool that he's going to be part of the organization. He's not going anywhere. It's a similar role to what Jim Leland has taken with the Tigers. He's kind of around. He's a found the special assistant, whatever that means, kind of an ambassador. I think that's what Miggy will be doing more in the community and stuff. But super cool, awesome way to end. It's just so much better than I feared it would. I just the way things were trending was 180 degrees from what it ended up being. It was just a joy to watch this last season of his. And the last weekend, Tigers did a great job of honoring him throughout the weekend. Fans sold out the stadium all weekend. It was just super cool. It was great weather. Perfect send off, very emotional, tearful goodbye, but very happy. And he's not going anywhere. He's sticking around with the organization. So it's about the best way that story could end, except for
Yeah.
the $90 bottle of wine from the
Yeah. Exactly.
Cornhole Media.